Hello and welcome back to Physical Media Room. In today's video we're going to be going through my entire 4K Blu-ray collection. We're going to be doing this as a series and actually be going through my entire movie collection here, as well as the Blu-rays, the collector's editions, and all of my boutique labels. But it's a lot of movies to go through, so we're just going to start with the 4K movies right now, and then we'll move on in part 2 to doing some other parts of my collection. Now, the main reason why I want to do this is because physical media is extremely important to me, and being able to actually own these things and never have to worry about somebody being able to take them away from me. That's been something that we've been having to worry about lately with companies like Sony announcing that they're not going to be making any physical games for the PlayStation moving forward in 2028, as well as I believe it was through the Sony store. If you bought movies from Studio Canal, I think it was, like, they're just taking hundreds of movies away from people that they had bought and paid for just because the licensing rights had been taken away from Sony. And it's not right that you should be able to purchase something and it's said that you own it, and then they can just take it away from you anytime they want to. So physical media is definitely something that I'm worried about losing, and this is a passion of mine that I want to share with people. And maybe when I'm going through these, you'll find something you want to add to your collection, or just be inspired to start your own physical media collection. So I'm going to go through these really quickly, probably because there's a lot to go through. And of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my favorite movies in the stack, because I can't really not talk about them when they're right here in front of me. But for now, let's go ahead and get started. So first up, we have the Daniel Craig 007 movies. So we have Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. I really do like the Daniel Craig James Bond series. Some of them are definitely better than others, but those are really good. Next up is 10 Cloverfield Lane. I know I said I wasn't going to talk much about these, but I absolutely love this movie. I think I even like it more than the original Cloverfield movie, but I don't think it really should be connected to Cloverfield. I think it would have been better as its standalone movie. Next up, two of my favorite comedies, 21 and 22 Jump Street. Had to get those on 4K when they came out. 1917. Next up is 2001 A Space Odyssey. I absolutely love this movie. I know a lot of people might think it's boring, but this is a very important movie, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check out this movie. The Abyss, I actually just recently got this on 4K and upgraded from a DVD, so that was long overdue. Next we have Alien, the original. I think this is like one of the few Alien movies I have on 4K. Most of them are on Blu-ray, so happy to have this one on 4K. Next is Alien Covenant. Then we have Alita Battle Angel. Gotta make sure I put these back in the right order because I want these to be easy to put back on the shelf, and I just realized I've been putting all of these back incorrectly. So 21. Because yeah, I just want to be able to put these back on my shelf and them still be alphabetized, so I gotta make sure that stack stays like that. Next up we have American Psycho, Aquaman, Arrival. Arrival is probably one of my favorite Alien movies. Definitely not my favorite, because we're gonna talk about which one is my favorite here pretty soon, but one of my favorite Alien movies. All Quiet on the Western Front. This is the one that comes with the digital book, or digibook with it, I think they call it. So that was pretty cool. And then we have Baby Driver. Next is Barbie. Then we have The Batman. You're about to see a lot of Batman movies here. I love Batman. Batman Begins. Batman The Dark Knight, the best in the trilogy, I think. The Dark Knight Rises. And then we have Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. This is kind of a whatever movie, but I do like having a lot of like I said, I love Batman and I like having a lot of the comic book movies, even if they're not as good. Batman Assault on Arkham. Batman Gotham by Gaslight. Batman Hush, which is actually probably one of my favorite of the animated Batman movies. This one's really good. Okay, we're finally past Batman, and now we have A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This is like an autobiography about Mr. Rogers. I loved Mr. Rogers growing up, and that's a great movie. The Big Lebowski. Birds of Prey. We've got the first Blade movie. And then we have Blade Runner, The Final Cut. So this is the original Blade Runner. And then we have Blade Runner 2049. This is the newer one that came out a few years back now. Then we've got Brightburn. This is really cool. Not one of the best movies ever made or anything, but this is basically what if Superman was evil when he came to Earth, and I thought that was a pretty cool concept. Next up is Bullet Train. That's a really fun movie if you haven't seen it. The Cabin in the Woods. When I first watched this one, I thought it was just going to be a true horror movie, but this is definitely a horror comedy, and it's absolutely great. One of the best horror comedies probably ever made. This is the new Candyman. Then we have Casablanca, which I actually haven't watched this yet, but I know this is a classic. So when I saw it on 4K, I was like, I need to pick this up and finally watch it. Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving. Civil War. Not the Marvel Civil War. This is by Alex Garland. Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, another one of my favorite Alien movies. This is probably my favorite Alien movie that isn't a horror movie, so love that one. Then here we have the original Cloverfield, which I still love this movie, don't get me wrong, but I think 10 Cloverfield Lane was even better. But I don't think, like I said, I don't think that needed to be a sequel or anything. Then we have Color Out of Space. This is kind of like, it does have Nicolas Cage in it, but I feel like this horror movie kind of went under the radar. And this is honestly, at the very least, it's definitely in my top 10, maybe even in my top 5. I absolutely love Color Out of Space. Next up, we have Creed. Then we have Cruella, and this movie actually surprised me. I didn't expect it to be any good, and then I actually really enjoyed it. Daddy's Home. Then we have Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, and then Deadpool and Wolverine. Then we've got Die Hard, District 9, another really good Alien movie there. Doctor Sleep, which is actually a sequel to The Shining, and I actually think I like this one more than The Shining. They're both great movies, but I think I like this one a little bit more. Next up is Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. This was another movie that surprised me a lot because, I mean, obviously it had a big budget, but you know, we've had lots of Dungeons & Dragons movies before, and none of them have been very good. Next up is Dunkirk. You'll notice a lot of these are in like these slip covers like this too. If I can get a movie with a slip cover, I always do because I love slip covers. I think it just adds kind of, at least to me, adds value to my collection and something else to kind of look at and keep everything protected. Next is E.T. the Extraterrestrial. And then we have a classic Christmas movie, Elf. Escape Plan. Evil Dead Rise, which was also a really good Evil Dead movie. I'm a huge fan of the older movies, but man, they did a great job with this one. Fast and Furious 9. And then we've got Fast 10. And then we've got Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. Now, I do have the rest of the Fast and Furious series, but the rest of them are on a collection, so we'll get to that once we get to all the collector's edition stuff. This is an M. Night Shyamalan movie, Knock at the Cabin. Also really like this movie. I almost all the time like M. Night Shyamalan movies. He's one of my favorite directors, but I know a lot of his movies get a lot of hate, so... The next one up here is actually a video game movie, Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive. And this is kind of just like a continuation of the story from the game. I love Final Fantasy 15. Probably actually one of my favorite Final Fantasy games. Don't let too many Final Fantasy fans hear me say that. But then another great movie, Final Fantasy VII, The Advent Children. This is also just kind of a continuation of the Final Fantasy VII story, kind of giving you a little bit more story. Next up is Free Guy. And then we have Full Metal Jacket, which is a really, really hard movie to watch, but I think it's pretty important. Next up is The Gentleman. Then we have Get Out. Absolutely love this movie. I love all of the Jordan Peele horror movies. They're really good. Next up is Ghostbusters. And then we have Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2. And then we have The Greatest Showman. The Green Mile. Hacksaw Ridge, which is actually probably one of my favorite war movies. I don't like a lot of war movies, but this one's really good. Halloween, this is the 2018 like remake trilogy. And then we have Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. I do have the rest of the Halloween movies, but those are going to be in a separate part because those are all like collector's editions. Next up we have Hook, I Am Legend, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and that's the original one. In the Heart of the Sea, Inglourious Bastards. And then we have another DC animated movie, Injustice. Then we have It. This is the remake of the It movies. And then we have It Chapter 2. And then in this stack, last but not least, is It's a Wonderful Life. And this is actually my favorite Christmas movie like ever. Watch this one every single Christmas, and probably, honestly, I cry every single time. I love this movie. Okay, I had to get another stack of movies so we can keep going with the 4K Blu-rays. Next up, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, the original Jaws movie. And this is a pretty cool, like, anniversary edition. It came with, like, I think, like an art book, and that was pretty cool. But yes, Jaws is a very influential movie in my life and one of my favorite movies of all time. And then we also have the not as great sequel, but still good, Jaws 2. Then we have the John Wick series. So we have John Wick 1, John Wick 2, John Wick 3, and John Wick 4. I actually don't have Ballerina yet, but I eventually will because I enjoyed that movie as well. Love John Wick as a series. The fourth one is probably actually my favorite one too. So, and then for some reason I actually have two copies of this, but we have Joker. Then we have the original Jumanji. And then Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, which is the remake. And then we have Jumanji Next Level, which is the sequel to the remake. Honestly, don't like this movie a lot, but the other two are pretty good. And then we have, yet again, another one of my favorite movies of all time and very influential in my life is Jurassic Park. Absolutely love this movie. And then, of course, we have Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Yet again, not as good as the original, but still a great movie. And then we have just an okay movie, but it still means a lot to me, and that's Jurassic Park 3. And then we have Jurassic World Dominion, which honestly is probably the worst Jurassic Park movie I've ever seen, or Jurassic World movie, whatever. But a lot of the Jurassic World movies weren't all that great, and that one was no exception to that. Then we have Zack Snyder's The Justice League. I actually really like this one. As terrible as the original release of Justice League was, I think this fixed a lot of the problems with it. But of course, it still doesn't save this whole franchise from being an entire wreck. But I still enjoyed it for what it was. And then now we're coming up on a lot of Justice League movies. We have Justice League Dark. We have Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. We have Justice Society World War II. Then we have Kick-Ass. King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword. Knives Out. This is actually the only Knives Out movie I have of the trilogy. But I need to get the rest, definitely. But I absolutely love this series. Really good mystery movies. I'm sure everybody's heard of these, but if you haven't watched the Knives Out movies, definitely give those a try. Next up is The Last Duel. Last Night in Soho. Life. And then we have Logan. Logan is probably my favorite of like any of the movies that have anything to do with the X-Men. This is an absolutely fantastic movie. Next up we have Longlegs, which is a really great movie by Osgood Perkins. Osgood Perkins has been doing some great films lately, and I'm really excited to see what he does in the future. Next up is Love and Monsters. This one I had never really heard anything about, and then I bought it and watched it, and it was actually a really good movie. But I haven't heard too many people talk about this one. Malignant. Man of Steel. Not a great movie either. The Martian, which is a fantastic movie. The Matrix Resurrections, which I actually haven't watched yet because I think I still need to watch the third movie first. Another great movie, The Meg. I'm a sucker for shark movies just like in general, and this one was really fun, really good movie. And then we have The Meg 2, The Trench, which is not as good of a movie, but still some fun to be had with this one. I mean, it's just a giant shark wreaking havoc. It's awesome. Next up, we have The Mist. Pacific Rim, a really good kaiju and kind of mech crossover movie. Mortal Kombat. And then another one of my favorite Christmas movies, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Night School. Nightmare Alley. This is by Guillermo del Toro. That's a great movie. Nobody, which is a really good, just kind of fun action movie. Then we have Nope, one of the other Jordan Peele horror movies. Then we have The Northman. This by Robert Eggers. not my favorite of his movies, but I don't think Robert Eggers has made a bad movie yet. So, and then we also have also by Robert Eggers, Nosferatu. This is the remake he just did pretty recently. Then we have Now You See Me 2. I know I have the first Now You See Me, but I think I only have it on Blu-ray. Then we have The Nun, which is an awful movie. Not sure why I have this. Then we have another M. Night Shyamalan movie, Old. This is another movie that I really enjoyed that a lot of people kind of hated. And I didn't understand why. I thought it was an interesting concept. Then we have one that I actually recently picked up on 4K because it just got a 4K release, and that is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Absolutely great. Fantastic movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Then we have Oppenheimer, and I'm going to be completely honest, this one's still sealed. I have not watched it since I watched it in theaters. I do think it's a great movie. I just haven't found the time where I feel like watching a 3-hour movie again. So next up we have The Outsiders. Absolutely fantastic movie. Also read the book to this in school. Great movie. Then we have Overlord. Pacific Rim Uprising, which I'm not sure why this wasn't with the other Pacific Rim. I think that's because the other Pacific Rim was in the wrong spot, so I'm going to put these together. So that's the first and second Pacific Rim. Then we have Pet Sematary, and this is the newer one, so it's not great, but I think I got this one for really cheap, and it's not a terrible movie, it's just not as good as the original. And then we have The Phantom Thread. This one is amazing. This is by Paul Thomas Anderson. I love Paul Thomas Anderson, and this was no exception to his great filmography. And then we have Phenomena. This is a really cool, I think, like Italian horror movie. It's very weird, but I enjoyed it. I like weird horror movies, so definitely a very underappreciated, under-talked about horror movie though. Then we have The Pineapple Express, one of my favorite comedy movies actually. This is a great series that I absolutely love, at least the first 3 of. That is Pirates of the Caribbean. We've got Curse of the Black Pearl. Then we've got Dead Man's Chest, At World's End, and then we have Pirates of the Caribbean 4 and Pirates of the Caribbean 5. Those are kind of whatever, but I like to kind of have the complete set of stuff, even if I'm probably never going to watch the other ones again. Then we have Detective Pikachu, which also very much surprised me. I did very much enjoy this movie. Then we have Possessor Uncut. This is by Brandon Cronenberg, which is David Cronenberg's son, and he's kind of continuing on that film legacy like his father. This was an absolutely great movie. If you like David Cronenberg-esque movies, definitely try this one out. Then we've got The Predator. This is one of the newer remakes. And then we have the Predator 3 movie collection, which has Predator 1, Predator 2, and Predators. So then we also have Prey, which is actually my favorite of the Predator movies, even though it's not actually titled Predator. But this is definitely my favorite in the series, even over the original. So. And then we have Prometheus, which is actually part of the Alien series. I also really like this movie, and I know a lot of people, I think people either love it or hate it, but I did enjoy that one. Then we have The Purge. This is just the original Purge. And then we have the first Purge, A Nation Reborn. I haven't actually watched this one yet. I might get around to it eventually, but from what I've heard, for the most part, the main Purge movie worth watching is like the first one. Then we have A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2, which are both actually great movies, which surprised me because I didn't think that was a movie that needed to have a sequel. One of my favorite Pixar movies, Ratatouille, absolutely fantastic movie. Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, I also really enjoyed this movie. I know a lot of people didn't, but I definitely enjoyed that one. The Revenant, this movie's fantastic. Then we have Saving Private Ryan. Haven't watched this one in a long time. Not really sure if it's even one that I really care for that much anymore. Next up we have Scarface. That's a great movie. Then we have Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Schindler's List, which I actually haven't watched yet. I know I'm eventually going to, but this is obviously going to be a really hard movie to watch, and I just haven't found like a time that I just want to sit down and watch a super depressing movie, but it is very important though. Next up is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I absolutely love this movie. It's hilarious, great time, brings back a lot of memories. We have Scream, which is actually Scream 5 when they kind of rebooted the series. And then we have Shaun of the Dead. Love this movie too. The Shawshank Redemption. Now I have seen this one, but also a very hard movie to watch. And then we have Shazam, which is probably one of my favorite of the DC movies, like from this generation of DC movies at least. Then we have Shutter Island. Probably not one of Martin Scorsese's best movies, but I do still absolutely love this movie. And then here we have, in this last of the stack, but definitely not least, is M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. And if you've seen any of my other videos when I'm talking about movies or when I talked about my top 5 movies, you would know this is my favorite movie of all time. I absolutely love Signs, and they recently released this on 4K, so I just had to pick this up when it came out. So I upgraded my regular Blu-ray to this, and gosh, I love this movie. Okay, we're on our last shelf of movies now, at least for the 4K collection, so let's go ahead and get started. We've got Smile, then we've got Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, cool thing about this Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is I actually was at a convention and the voice actor or voice actress for Tails was there, and I actually got her to sign my copy of Sonic 2, so that's pretty cool to have in the collection. And then we have Space Jam, the original Space Jam, the good one. And then we have The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Fun fact is that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is probably my favorite comic book movie of all time, at least as far as live action movies go. I absolutely love this movie, and I know a lot of people have their complaints with it, but this is definitely my favorite of the live action Spider-Man movies, but probably up there with my favorite comic book movies of all time. And then we have Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 collection. So this is going to be the original trilogy. So it's going to have Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, which is a really cool collection. I love those movies too. And then we have Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Spider-Man No Way Home. Not my favorite of the Spider-Man trilogies, but it's still good. I love Spider-Man, so anything I can get with Spider-Man in it. And then probably some of the greatest animated comic book movies ever. We have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and then Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Both absolutely fantastic movies, and I cannot wait for part 3. Then we have the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. This is the original movie. Then we have Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And then we have Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. Then we have Return of the Jedi. We have Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, which is actually getting... It's between this and Empire Strikes Back, with being my favorite Star Wars movie ever, but it's really leaning towards this one. I absolutely love Revenge of the Sith. This is such a good Star Wars movie. And then we have The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. Don't like that trilogy as much, but we won't get too deep into that because I could talk about that for a long time. And then we have Star Wars Rogue One, which I actually did enjoy. I like Rogue One. And then we have Solo, A Star Wars Story. I actually haven't watched this one at all yet, so I don't know anything about this one. I know I'm eventually going to watch it because I just got to see Darth Maul again, and I know that he's in this, so. Alright, and then we have The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Basically, I don't want to say a biography about Nicolas Cage because it's not really. It's what somebody wants Nick Cage to be in real life, and that's basically what this movie is. It's really fun though, absolutely hilarious. And then we have Unbreakable. This is the first part of M. Night Shyamalan's kind of like superhero trilogy, and then along with it I have Split, and then I also have Glass, and all of these movies are connected, even though Unbreakable and Split came out so far apart. I think Split is actually my favorite in that series, pretty closely followed by Unbreakable though. And then we have V for Vendetta. Then we have the Venom movies, so we have the first Venom, and then we have the second Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Those movies are okay. Then we have Violent Night, which is kind of like a cool action Christmas movie. And then we have WALL-E, War of the Worlds, The Wolf of Wall Street, Wonder Woman, and then we also have Wonder Woman 1984. Wonder Woman 1984 was a terrible movie, which was so disappointing because of how good the first Wonder Woman was. Then we have the X-Men 3 film collection. This is going to include the first 3 X-Men movies. And then we have X-Men Apocalypse. And then next up we have, I think I got those stacks out of order, but that's okay. So this stack should have been before this one, but then we have Starship Troopers. We have The Suicide Squad, which is actually the good Suicide Squad movie. Then we have Super 8. I love Super 8, another great Alien movie. If you can't tell, I love Alien movies. And then we have Tammy and the T-Rex. This is a really cool, like 90s horror comedy about this guy who turns into a T-Rex. It sounds really goofy, and it definitely is. That's exactly what it's going for. Absolutely great movie, and Paul Walker is in this. Probably one of his first roles, if not the first role he was ever in. Then we have Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I think that Terminator 2 I don't think the first Terminator is on 4K at all. I think it's only on Blu-ray. So here we have a series that I really like, the Terrifier series. I have Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3. Now I do also have the first Terrifier, but I think I only have that one on Blu-ray. So eventually I want to get that one on 4K as well. Then we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the original classic Chainsaw Massacre movie. Chainsaw Massacre is one of my favorite of like the old slasher movies. I absolutely love it. And to be able to get this on 4K and it look as good as it does is really awesome. And then another classic horror movie, John Carpenter's The Thing. That one is absolutely fantastic. And then we have Tomb Raider, Total Recall. This is the original Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then we have Transformers, the movie. This is from the original cartoon. Absolutely love this movie. One of my favorite Star Wars, one of my favorite Transformers movies. And then we have the Michael Bay Transformers movie. So he's got the first one. We've got Revenge of the Fallen. Ooh, almost dropped that. Then we've got Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, and The Last Night. And honestly, with the Michael Bay series, they kind of just got worse and worse as they went on. But then we got a breath of fresh air when they kind of changed up the directors for the Transformers movies, and we got Bumblebee. Bumblebee is probably the best of the live action Transformers movies. This movie is fantastic. If you kind of got tired of Transformers and didn't watch this one, definitely give this one a shot. It's really kind of a cute story, but also just a really awesome Transformers movie. So definitely try this one out if you were kind of burnt out of the Michael Bay Transformers movies. And then this actually is my favorite Transformers movie of all time, and that's Transformers 1. I was not expecting a lot from this when it came out, and of course they went with the whole thing of not getting the iconic voice actor for Optimus Prime. Like, he's still doing stuff, and I didn't understand why, but after watching this I kind of get it, because they're trying to kind of go back and show the origins of some of these characters and kind of show these characters when they're younger. But this has an absolutely amazing story and some really good art in it, and yeah, just one of the best Transformers movies ever made. And if you haven't watched this one yet, definitely check it out. Okay, so that looks like that is the entirety of my 4K Blu-rays. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, in the future, we're going to be going through the Blu-rays. We're going to be going through all the collector's editions and boutique labels. So if you enjoyed this, definitely stick around to see what else there is in this collection as we go into part 2. But also, if you like the video, please subscribe. It'll really help out the channel with the kind of growth that I'm wanting to see. And yet again, really appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. And until then, always remember that physical media is forever.